Okay, tonight's class is on atheism and agnostics, which pretty much do the same thing. Sam does. But there's multiple differences. And if you were here last week, you remember the subject getting brought up of different kinds of atheists. Some are called Christian atheists, which makes no sense. It should be oxymoron. But you'll see on the front page of the little pamphlet I've got called The Thinking Debate. You'll see the different types of atheism and agnostics. And I've got another sheet that I've handed you that gives a breakdown of what little trivia facts and knowledge about each class. Strong atheism is pretty much what we're used to dealing with in the past. It is the ones who do not believe there is a God, or do not believe in the existence of any deity at all. Weak atheism is sometimes what you encounter inside of like a small town like in Brockton. They just, I don't believe. It's the lack of belief, but they don't want to claim they have certain knowledge about it. These are a lot of people who don't want to go to church. You'll find out a lot of these people have church hurt, and they're trying to run. That's your weak atheist.
Some of the weak atheists are
deconstructing Christians, and I will get into that towards the end. There's some, but agnostic atheism does not believe, but doesn't claim they know, which is similar to the weak atheist, but they claim, well, I'm agnostic, but I'm agnostic atheist is what they claim. And you'll see this coming out of college a lot. Xander and Hayden will see this. Well, I'm agnostic atheist. Cody doesn't see this when you go to college. Agnosticism is, there's multiple different categories, and I got the definitions here off to the side, but y'all pretty much know what a lot of agnostics are and atheists, because we use that term every day. But agnosticism goes into multiple categories. Some believe there is, they don't know if there's a God, but they're not going to say there's a God. They don't know, they're not going to argue, they're not going to debate. Now some will go as far to claim there once was a God, but now he's dead. They're a strange bunch, that. And they believe partially. And you got different versions of that latter one. You got some who come out of Islam without viewpoint, some who's come out of Christianity without viewpoint. And then you have the agnostic theists. They believe, but they do not claim certain knowledge on it. They believe there might be a deity, but they don't want to stand and say it's a fact. Being a Christian atheist, the oxymoron, the contradiction, they follow Christian ethics, even the morality, but they follow the teachings of the good morality of the Bible, but they will not believe there's God. They think it's nothing but moral teachings. And there's one of our forefathers of this nation dabbled into that a little bit before Christian atheists were known. It goes into deists. And we'll cover that in a second, what a deist is. A practical atheist lives as if God doesn't exist. You probably know some in your personal life who they live that way. They live like there's no God. They go do this, they go do that, they have no morality in their life. This last one is a new one to me, not the last one, but the one with agnosticism. That is a new one to me, guys. I've never encountered that. They say God's human almost. I was in a debate last night with one guy. It's about the 11th short time he's come around in the past 6 months. He thinks he's better than us because he thinks he has evolved past believing in a God. That's problematic.
They were arguing about anything.
Oh yeah, Richard Dawkins, y'all know him? Ever heard the name? He's a new atheist. It's a new version of atheism that has came about in the past. I haven't experienced it recently, but it has been around for about 20 to 30 years. It's growing in the atheist community.
Did I have the right person? I see him in a lot of debates, I think. Am I thinking the right person? Yes. Okay. He's debated like Ken Ham. He's debated
Ray Comfort.
Ray Comfort. I want to say he might have even talked to Cliff Connector. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I'm sure.
But Frank Turek. A lot of Frank Turek. Like him and Frank Turek go head to head. Like a lot. I've seen that a lot.
And the last one is agnostic, meaning atheistic Satanism. It is different from devil worship. They just use Satan as a complete rebellion to go against religion. They don't even believe it is a devil, but they claim that title just to be mocking. And there is a lot of you'll see that in bigger cities. I've only met one in my whole life in person, never met one online, but they're out there. And just be careful. Let me expound on this right quick. When you're talking to these guys, please, please, please be prayed up. Please be in Scripture. But beware. They're going to carry you through mental gymnastics and change the subject on you from this to this to try to stumble you. They're going to try to argue and point, and they'll loop back around and say, I got you, when they get you to say anything. Prime example, they'll sit there and they'll go, do you believe there is and this is your new atheist and them that will go into this, do you believe there's God? Yes, I believe there's a God. Do you think he is a righteous God? Yeah, I think he's a righteous God. Well, why does he kill children? Well, he doesn't kill children. Where you're saying the flood didn't exist. You see where they keep. And the best way to argue to that point is God is the author of life and death. God does not kill. He says when people live and die.
Well, they had 120 years on the
Yeah.
boat, and they didn't.
So, and they won't even go use Bible verses. There is a Reddit or some platform that has a list of Bible verses they print out. There's numerous websites that have a tune of the gotcha moments. They'll say, what is it, Isaiah, where God says he controls, he's the author of good and evil. They'll say, well, God controls evil, he makes evil. But our rebuttal back to that is the Hebrew word there is ra, which means calamity, not evil.
What's the word?
Calamity.
No, the rock.
Ra.
Okay.
Ra. All right. Ra. So, and I should put that on paper, guys, but it just popped on my head. So, like I said, we got a printout here that you'll see that it's got strong atheism, weak atheism, agnostic atheism. It's got a breakdown of everything of what pretty much they believe, and some little bullet points.
Some agnostics believe God once existed and
Yeah.
no longer exists.
Yes.
Even though when Christ out of the cross, he's not the flesh, God don't exist anymore.
Now inside the pamphlet, you'll see I got history of atheism, and I got that there for a reason. Because atheists will try to claim mankind has been evolving, and they have all, there's been atheists from the beginning. And they try to argue a point on that. So I got a little bullet points here, not bullet points, but they're laid out in the history of atheism. Greek philosophers that questioned the Greek gods and denied their involvement were called atheists in the 5th century BC. Greek philosophers were. They were not atheists as we would call atheists today. They questioned the Greek deities. That's where the term came from. Socrates, not an atheist himself, but I was also accused of atheism for questioning Greek pantheons, which goes back to the first one I mentioned. That goes back to 430 to 399 BC, which the ancient Greeks should have been right after that. I got that out of order, forgive me. Now the Romans, during the time of Christianity, if you do not believe in the Greek gods, they called you atheists. All Christians that denied the Greek gods and denied that Caesar was God was classified atheists. Even so much that Polycarp, a disciple of John, even had a mocking statement about that when he was on trial. I cannot quote exactly what he said, but it's pretty much, if you call me an atheist, they're the ones who are the true atheists, because they don't believe in me. He had a mocking statement back to them while he was on trial. Fast forward, now that's ancient times, back in biblical times. Fast forward to the 16 and 1700s. This here is where modern atheism started coming out. Basically, atheism is the new kids on the block. They're not an old concept. They're the new kids on the block. They're the ones that they're trying to go against Christianity. They're trying to go against organized religion. And the majority of that started in Europe. They linked their ideas with science, rationalism, and the rejection of the church authority. Rationalism is a belief or a theory that opinions and actions should be based on reasons and knowledge. And they believe, with rationalism, they try to say the Bible's not rational. And this concept started coming out of the 1600s, 1700s. Now I told you I would cover this concept grew even into our forefathers, into this nation. Our third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, was an open deist. Deist believes that God created everything, but he's not involved. There's no miracles, nothing. It's just, he's not involved. Now, we would find that problematic. That's like, and even so much, Thomas Jefferson wrote his own Bible. He went through Scripture, removed everything that he didn't think was important. And all it is the parables and the teachings of Jesus. Nothing about miracles, nothing about the death, burial, and resurrection. It's just the parables and teachings of Jesus. Our third president of the United States wrote his version of the Bible off his belief in deism. If y'all want to pass that around there, can you got it. You knew where I was going with it. Now, at the bottom of the page, you'll see where it says Edict of Caesar, and I've got hit, it was supposed to have arrows, it's got blocks. Sorry guys, I don't know why I didn't print arrows out. Pointing to the other side of the page.
You know, Lazarus wasn't a parable. So Thomas Jefferson was not as smart as he thought he was.
Good point, good point.
And the reason why we know that is no parable names anybody.
Well, except for the rich man Lazarus.
That's not a parable. It's true.
Well,
it happened. That's.
Oh, I believe it happened.
Yeah. All right, I'll pass him. I was gonna watch it. He done messed up.
A lot of atheists will claim there is no historical proof of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. There's no historical proof, period. Y'all are making it up. It has been changed in history, this, that, and the other. What is interesting is there was a stone tablet found in Nazareth. I want y'all to picture this. A little town in the corner of the top part of the Holy Land. Probably population less than what we have here. A little town. Small. And I don't think they were quarter our size back then, but the Emperor of Rome sent this one edict, this one decree written in stone to that one part of his empire. And it states, and you can read the edict, I'll paraphrase this right quick. Pretty much, if you're caught moving a body, if you're caught hiding a body, or messing with where people are buried and it has been sealed, it is a death sentence.
No, why would he do that?
Oh, no. And this was about a decade after the resurrection. It done got to Rome that Christians were teaching the resurrection. And he was trying to stop this argument. Because he didn't believe the resurrection, but he said, I'm going to dip it in the blood, as Barney 5 says. What's funny is that tablet, that is one of the evidences that the resurrection was being preached back then. And what's funny is this is evidence of the resurrection before any of the Gospels were written.
You know, what I find very interesting is we go through high school, especially, and probably college too, and we sit through these history classes. And I'm going to just use George Washington as an example. And we believe that George Washington was the first president of the United States. Why? Because someone saw it and wrote it down. But yet, there is more documentation on the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ than George Washington being our first president, and people still debate it. But we take it as fact that George Washington was our president. Now, we know he existed because we see pictures, but the same thing as Christopher Columbus. How do we know that he discovered some part of Central America in 1490? He landed in 1493. How do we know that? Well, because someone saw it and wrote it down. And we take it as fact. But yet, we have more documentation on the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and we debate that.
And
I'm not George Washington, but tell you something that may blow your mind. Robert E. Lee, Jr., General Ben Brockton, was a grandson of George Washington.
I knew it was all political.
And look what they covered up that in history because of the Confederate War.
one of the major things, and you'll see on the second page right here, it says basic attacks against Christianity. There's a whole list of them, and if you want me to give you a printout, get up with me later, of some of the stuff I'm going to cover, they're going to try to say the Bible contradicts itself. They're going to use scripture like, and this, you'll find this comical on how they try to do this. They say in Matthew 27:5, where Judas hung himself, contradicts Acts 1:18, says he fell headlong and busted open, and his intestines were spilled out, said, well, he died two different ways.
It didn't. It just,
Thank you.
It just tells us what happened after he hung himself.
Thank you.
Tree broke.
They're grabbing at anything they can do to try to get the argument. And they'll even go so far on this, and this is comical here, and I don't got it written down, but there's 2 different Gospels. And I think it's John, and I think it's Mark, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it's Mark, it's Matthew, where it mentions the color of the robe Jesus wore. Okay? One says scarlet, the other one says purple. And then, see, it contradicts each other. Men wrote it. First thing y'all women understand is men wrote it. We don't understand the difference between colors.
Maybe it's colorblind.
Yeah, maybe it's colorblind. They nitpick over small stuff like that. And they go, the Bible contradicts because of this. The Bible contradicts because of that. And that's why I say be read up and prayed up when you're having a discussion. And if you get overwhelmed, best thing to do is step away from the debate or in the discussion. Because you don't want to get aggravated where you can't control your anger. Been there, done that last time.
As we move from one subject to another, when they see they get weak on something, they jump into something else to gain momentum.
They'll claim also the Bible is immoral. It talks about genocide, slavery, and it's against the LGBTQ+. Well, yes, we're against homosexual marriages because it goes against the covenant of God. God is openly against that, and also he openly states against it in Leviticus 18.
I think people are kind of misunderstood. We're not against the people. We love the people.
Thank you.
We're just against. We don't approve of what they're doing. And it's not that we hate them. It's just we're trying to head them off from heading into destruction, on which they could be possibly heading. When you're talking, you go back to the genocide. No. What Hitler did
Was genocide. Yes.
What God told the Israelites to do when they went to take over the Promised Land was not.
No. And because, first thing you got to remember, the people that the Israelites went against when they went to the Promised Land were sacrificing children.
Kind of sounds like they had it coming.
That sounds like what America did when we went in to take care of Germany. Is what they were doing.
Yeah, same thing.
Well, I have a brother-in-law who doesn't believe in the rapture because the word's not mentioned in there. You cannot convince him, that's just plain ignorance. Caught up in the air means rapture.
Well, and what's funny is the word, if you look at that word in Thessalonians, I think it's First Thessalonians. Is it First Thessalonians or Second Thessalonians? First Thessalonians. That word is in Latin is where we get the word rapture.
Rapturo in Latin, harpazo in Greek, which means to be snatched up or called away. And as a matter of fact, it's actually mentioned 2 more times in the Bible if you go to Enoch and Elijah. So it's in there not once, but 3 times.
Yeah, because Enoch was an example of